guns weren't the only thing the president spoke about yesterday. He's getting a whole lot of backlash after he attacked Jewish Americans who vote Democratic, both for what he said and how he said it.
Where has the Democratic Party gone? Where have they gone where they're defending these two people over the state of Israel? And I think any Jewish people that vote for a Democrat, I think it shows either a total lack of knowledge or great disloyalty.
This morning, the president was back at it, tweeting this. Congresswoman Tlaib wants to cut off aid to Israel. This is the new face of the Democratic Party. Read the AOC plus 3 statements on their hatred of Jews and Israel. Check out Congresswoman Omar. The great people of Minnesota won't stand for this. Remember, the Congresswoman he is referring to are not the leaders of the Democratic Party. The women he is talking about have been in office for a total of 7 months. Jonathan Greenblatt is joining our conversation, the CEO of the Anti-Defamation League. Jonathan, you tweeted this. It is unclear who the president is claiming Jews would be disloyal to, but charges of disloyalty have long been used to attack Jews. As we've said before, it is possible to engage in the democratic process without these claims. It is long overdue to stop using Jews as a political football. Explain this to us, why the disloyalty charge resonated so much.
Well, I'll tell you right off the bat, you know, the president, unsurprisingly, was unclear. I'm not sure who he thinks we're being disloyal to. Is it to him or the Republican Party or America or Israel? I don't really know. I don't know exactly what he means. But
what do you think?
Well, I do know what the charge of dual loyalty exactly is. It's anti-Semitism. It's anti-Semitism because there's a long history of Jews being marginalized and murdered because of the idea that we're somehow not loyal. In Europe, Stephanie, for 1,000 years, in the countries where they lived, because Jews were perceived as being not loyal to the church or the crown, they were persecuted and murdered. In the Middle East over the last 100 years, because Jews were perceived to be more loyal to Israel. In the countries where they lived, they were persecuted and murdered. And so today, we're almost a year since the murder in Pittsburgh. It's almost 2 years to the day of the rally in Charlottesville. The idea that we're talking about the President of the United States using an anti-Semitic trope, sitting in the Oval Office, is absolutely mind-boggling.
But you've said it's not the president alone. This morning, he is pointing the finger back at these two congresswomen. What's your take?
Well, look, the president does want to put the focus of attention on them. And I strongly disagree with some of the things that they've said and done. Just last week, you know, the idea of taking a mission to Palestine organized by a group that's trafficked in the blood libel charge against Jews, right? Making a sort of a non-good faith effort to understand the region, that doesn't increase understanding on either side. But today, for me, the issue is really whether you're a member of Congress or you're the President of the United States, Jews aren't a political football. We shouldn't be used as if we were a tool in a partisan debate. We're not a monolith. And the loyalty we have as Americans is no different than the loyalty of any other American. And frankly, I'm just sick and tired of having to deal with this kind of bigotry.
Okay, I want to share actually some of our exit polls. In 2016, 71% of Jewish voters backed the Democrat Hillary Clinton. In 2018, 79% of Jewish voters backed House Democratic candidates. Do you believe that the president's attempts to make Congresswoman Omar and Congresswoman Tlaib the face of the Democratic Party are going to work? Do you think it's going to impact voters?
Look, Jews, like any other Americans, they vote their conscience. They vote based on their wallet, right? They vote based on their concerns. The president isn't going to paint us as a monolith and lead us to the polls one way or the other. And so I think the ways that Jews vote.
But he's not doing it by accident.
No, it's definitely very intentional. It's very intentional to say, I'm going to use Jews as a political prop to pursue my partisan agenda. It's prejudiced and it's wrong, plain and simple. And again, whether you're the President of the United States or you're a member of Congress, right? I don't want to be a political pinball in somebody else's game.
According to the New York Times, there are some diplomats and analysts accusing the president of hurting bipartisan support for Israel by doing this.
Well,
what do you think?
For 70 years, Israel has been a bipartisan issue. Leaders on both sides of the aisle appreciate the value, the interests that are aligned between America and the Jewish state. I think what's happened over the past few years, even if there are some things the president has done that the pro-Israel community agrees with, again, politicizing Jews, weaponizing anti-Semitism, this feels very wrong to me as a Jewish American.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.